Good day. I'm Andrea Spindle, President of Kulanu, Canada, and it's a pleasure to welcome you to the viewing of Reemerge, the Jews of Puerto Rico, which is a joint program with Kulanu US. Today's program is also co-sponsored by the Canadian Anti-Semitism Education Foundation and the Ludger Center Congregation in Toronto. Our Canadian organization, Kulanu Canada, has focused on providing funding support to Jewish communities in Uganda, Ghana, and Suriname, and sharing information about other isolated, emerging, or re-emerging Jewish communities. We do so with support from our U.S. colleagues. I want to officially thank Bonnie Sussman, President of Kulanu US, and Molly Levine, the Executive Director of Kulanu US. They've been tremendous support to our small organization in Canada. Molly will tell you about her organization and then introduce our special guests. You will then see the film, after which we will have a conversation with the filmmakers. You can submit your questions via the Q&A function on your screen. Please use that function rather than chat. And please stay with us until the end, and you'll hear from Bonnie Sussman, the president of Kulanu US. Welcome, Molly.
Thank you, Andrea. I'm Molly Levine, Kulanu's Executive Director in the United States. And for those of you who may be new to us, Kulanu works with isolated, emerging, and returning Jewish communities around the globe, helping them connect, grow, and learn. We currently work with 33 countries with hundreds of communities. And right now we're especially excited because we're supporting high holiday celebrations through our grant program. This year, those grants are reaching communities in Bolivia, Cameroon, Cuba, Ethiopia, Ghana, India, Kenya, Mexico, Nigeria, Pakistan, Tanzania, Uganda, Venezuela, and Zimbabwe. So we're really excited to have so many communities that are going to be able to celebrate together. Today's film viewing is a partnership between Kulanu Inc. and the United States and Kulanu Canada. So we're grateful to work side by side with them and bring programs like this. And of course, a big thank you to our generous sponsors for today's program, Richard Frankoff, David Nachman, and Anne Wayne. Your support allows us to not only host events like this, but helps us to continue strengthening Jewish communities worldwide. So thank you. What makes Kulanu so special is the people and our partner communities around the globe who are keeping Jewish life vibrant in unique and inspiring ways. Tonight's film gives us a chance to step into the story together to see Jewish life from a perspective we don't often get to see firsthand. So with that, I'd like to introduce the film's directors. Dani Rotstein is a documentary filmmaker and a community leader. He's a New Jersey native and spent years traveling the world producing advertisements for large commercial firms. When he moved to the Spanish island of Mallorca in 2014 to produce TV commercials, he didn't expect there to be such Jewish life there. His surprising discoveries led to the first feature-length documentary film entitled Ceuta Island, A Hidden History, for which he is not only a director, but also a subject. He became involved with the local Jewish community, founding Limmud Mallorca, as well as Jewish Mallorca, a company that offers educational tours of Jewish heritage sites around the island. And Patricio Serna Salazar, born in Monterrey, Mexico, studied film at NYU's Tisch School of the Arts and at Universitat Pompeu Fabra in Barcelona. His work has screened in festivals including Sundance, Clermont-Ferrand, and Morella. Notable titles include Tromba d'Or, Best Latin American Short, São Paulo, Maiden Call, awarded by Canal Plus, and Victoria para Chino, co-written and produced with Kari Finucane. Special received the silver medal for Student Academy Awards. His feature film documentary 12 Oranza from 2010, co-produced with Imseen, premiered at Morella and toured with Ambalete. Since 2024, he has been a producer on Reemerge, an ongoing documentary series directed with Dani Rotstein about Jewish communities in Latin America. He continues to develop film projects through his production company, Pachydermo. So thank you both for being here today. We're looking forward to viewing the film and hearing more.
Thank you so much, Molly, and thank you so much, Andrea, and everyone behind the scenes, Bonnie, Gerald. I mean, there's so many incredible people working with Kulanu, which is an organization that is incredibly near and dear to our hearts. Personally, Kulanu has reached out when we were trying to revive community life in Mallorca about 10 years ago now. And yeah, we're incredibly grateful for this opportunity. And very excited to be here with you all and present our new hot off the presses short film, our first episode, which is part of a larger documentary series called Reemerge Project. And we really believe in the exact same values as the organization of Kulanu USA, Kulanu Canada, which is trying to support communities that are isolated, that are emerging, that are re-emerging all over the world. And we think that it is incredibly important in times like these where the Jewish people, state of Israel, all of us could be using more friends out there. And this is part of this journey to meet people who, whether they believe they have a connection to Jewish roots themselves or they have found Judaism on their own, we believe that this is a beautiful goal and objective to have, is to help everyone connect to their Jewish identity. Just want to quickly pass the palabra, we say in Spanish, pasar la palabra, pass the microphone, I guess, in English, to Patricio to say hello and introduce us as well.
Well, I want to say hello to everybody. I'm very grateful also to Kulanu for the opportunity, and I'm also very privileged to have worked in this project with Dani. And well, there's good leave it to you. I hope you enjoy the film. Thank you.
Yeah, so we're obviously staying here for Q&A. We would love it if you could write questions in the chat as they come up, or if you have a pen and paper near you. It's an 18-minute long film. If you see on the top right of your screen where it says view, if you click on that and then put full screen on the bottom, that will be the best way to engage with the film. And yeah, I think without further ado, we would love to share with you and then hear your reflections. This is kind of like a VIP screening. It's not out yet. And so we're really excited to get to share this film with all of you. So without further ado, let's dim the lights and
David, run the
begin.
film.
Yeah.
My name is Dani Rotstein, and I'm a documentary filmmaker. I want to tell you about an extraordinary phenomenon taking place in Latin America today. I actually had to go there myself to see if it was true. There are different Christian groups interested in converting to Judaism.
Pues a mí si me dices compruébame que eres judío, a lo mejor no te lo puedo comprobar, pero te puedo mostrar el corazón. Mi corazón es judío al 100%.
Mucha gente tiene mucha sed de judaísmo acá, quiere conocer, pero no hay una puerta abierta para eso.
Comencé a investigar mucho sobre el judaísmo. Fui a la comunidad judía y me dijeron que ellos no podían ayudarme.
Because people have been rejected by the established Jewish communities, they're going and forming their own. Now you have emerging communities going away from traditional communities. That's crazy.
Esta comunidad son todos conversos menos yo.
Son dos tipos de exigencia. Aquí nos piden más observancia y allá nos piden mejor posición social.
Our plan is to create a documentary series that will shine a light on these unknown stories, highlighting their different hopes, experiences, and challenges.
Me decían, pero piénsalo bien, vas a ser discriminado por latino e agora vas a ser discriminado por judío. Ándate de aqui, todavía ser feliz.
A sinagoga tem que estar aberta, a sinagoga não é museu, tem que estar aberta. Eu acho errado. Errado.
Right now, we are looking for producing partners to help prepare the project and secure funding so we can return to Latin America to tell this story completely.
Una de las cosas que tenemos que luchar es para sacar la palabra emergente de las comunidades. Ya emergió.
So I invite Dani and Patricio to come back online with me. Unmute.
Yes, here we are.
And Patricio there. Thank you. So first of all, I have to say once again, it's fabulous and thank you for creating the film. I've seen it several times now. I have to tell you, at the same point each time I listen to Anna and my eyes well up. I'm so moved. Really, watching and learning about the Anusim has really made me feel more Jewish and want to know more. Here are people striving so hard, making such a commitment, that those of us who grew up Jewish and take it for granted need to learn to reappreciate what we love about our heritage, right? And I could see that with you, Dani, obviously, right? And I have 3 children who I were adopted, so I've been in a mikveh to hold them and dunk them, but not for me personally. But that whole experience is really quite confirming, right? So thank you very much, guys, for doing this. So I have some questions that I'll throw at you to start with, and then we'll see if there are some from our audience. I would like to know what you personally, each of you, found the most interesting or surprising thing about the community of the Anusim. And yeah.
Thank you. Patricio, do you have an answer?
Well, thank you for your kind words. I'm Bnei Anusim myself, and that's been one of the motors for me to approach this subject. It's very personal, very intimate for me. And when I met Dani here in Mexico, he was promoting the Chota Island, which has to do with Bnei Anusim also. So for me, having this experience in Puerto Rico and further experience that we've been able to have some other places around the Latin American world has been very fulfilling because I mean, for me personally, it gives me this sense that that we're not alone, that we share the same struggles or and the same joys when we find a community that takes us in and allow us to go into this journey. And in that sense, what Kulanu does, it is also very, very important. I had the opportunity to meet Bonita and Molly almost 3 years ago, and the work that you've been doing it's been amazing. So yes, the experience of meeting these people in Puerto Rico, a couple of them are with us here in the audience. It's very fulfilling. It's all I can say. I'm gonna pass the microphone to Dani.
Answers. I have to tell you, I was in
yeah.
Puerto Rico a number of years ago on the way to somewhere else, and I was in 2 of the synagogues. Did not know about the other community in the mountains, unfortunately, but it was striking to me to just meet people in Puerto Rico, of which I know nothing, and learn that people had come from primarily Cuba and elsewhere, and that in itself was rewarding. So Dani, what was the most interesting or surprising for you?
You actually just answered it, Andrea. It literally was the lack of information about the Bnei Anusim history of Puerto Rico and active communities that are there right now. I mean, I grew up, as you know, in the film, as I said it many times, growing up, going to Puerto Rico, and it's really true. I like heard it from a legendary way, and then I met a woman named Sharon Montañez. Actually, we haven't met in person, believe it or not. It'll only be mutual friends online, and she's someone who's a member of a conservative synagogue in Washington, D.C. And through her, she told me that she grew up Jewish, practicing Jewish traditions, Jewish faith in Puerto Rico, and it almost confirmed this like legend that I had heard. And the surprising fact, which you just asked about, was us filming this movie in December of 2023, so only 2 months, 2 months after October 7th, and still in 2023, people having never visited the synagogue that we shot in the film, never gone to Adam's Pond where they have done mikvahs before. I always find that surprising to me, that you can live in a place and not necessarily know everything about that place that you live in. And so that's what was surprising to me.
Right. Well, I was pleased that, Patricio, you just said there's a bit of a networking of Anusim communities across, I guess, Latin and South America. Is that right? Helping one another?
Well, Kind of. I mean, in my experience, I've met rabbis that have been doing work in Mexico that are also doing work in Colombia, for example. So that's been a link actually for us to connect with for this film with these other communities. We had the opportunity to travel to Barranquilla last year and film with them. Actually, it was very beautiful because they prepare for a certain time people in the community that want to return or want to convert. And every, I don't know, in Colombia, the last time they did it was 4 years ago. So we were able to go and film. It was not massive conversion, but it was about 10 people returning to Judaism, and they also had some weddings. I mean, they took opportunity that the rabbi was traveling, so they wanted to make the most out of it. So these are the kind of networks that I've discovered through working in this film. Yeah.
Sounded like I don't know if it was the whole congregation or a community in Philadelphia was instrumental in helping the Anusim in this case. So maybe, Dani, you could tell us a little more about that. Is that ongoing, or are there any other Jewish associations or Yeshivot or rabbinical associations, anybody providing additional support?
As of right now, no. We actually don't know that much about the community in Philadelphia as well. Actually, one of the participants who's on our Zoom as we speak is Ernesto, who was in the film, and he was in Dover, Delaware, part of a community there as well. And so he's now moved to Puerto Rico, and he's supporting that community, which is a big deal to have, someone who's learning and not completed how to be a rabbi officially, but being a part of that community. You have to understand that community in Puerto Rico, has been around for 20 years, but of course has its own history, right? It was a church before, and then it changed into a synagogue. And so what I find fascinating about this entire story is this idea of who gets to decide who belongs, who doesn't. There's already multiple denominations within Judaism, right? This idea of Orthodox, conservative, Reform, Reconstructionist. And then what do we do with people who believe that they have Jewish roots and might not have the opportunity, hence why Kulanu exists and why it's so important, because they live so far away, to be a part of a community, to attend Shabbat services, to be able to eat kosher. These are people who want to, but who are physically unable to. And so I believe Anna Licea said it in the film, they were invited to study and learn with the different communities in Puerto Rico, but it wasn't easy for them physically. And so they decided, look, we are going to do our own community here, where we're located. And so that's a little bit of the background that I'm able to share.
Interestingly, the Sephardic don't divide themselves into 4 denominations. That's an Ashkenazi thing. The Mizrahi don't do that. And by and large, they are more Orthodox, more observant, I should say, than some of the other denominations. So it's interesting because this is very much a Sephardic community now, right? Yeah.
They absolutely describe themselves as such. They're calling themselves a Sephardic community because they absolutely believe that they come from the Sephardic people coming from Spain and Portugal beforehand.
Right. Nobody spoke about, and I have to ask this because of the other work I do, CAF being a co-sponsor here, are these communities experiencing anti-Semitism? Particularly since they're sort of isolated in Puerto Rico. Is that an issue for them?
I mean, that was one of the additional surprising things for me when I went there December, 2 months after October 7th. Doors are open, no security, windows are open. This community particularly was using a microphone on Shabbat, so you could actually hear Hebrew chanting from what was it, Patricio? I don't know, it felt like a couple 100 meters down the road. As we were driving up, we could hear it coming down, what felt like middle of nowhere Puerto Rico. And, I asked them, I said, aren't you a little nervous with what's going on in the world. You know, you guys have doors open, no security. And that's when this comment came up, when he said, you know, people around here, the neighbors, they don't even know that it's a synagogue. You know, they call it Church of the Fork because of the menorah that's on top. And I thought that was incredible.
And I don't know if this came up, but I'm familiar with some of the other communities that Kulanu in the US particularly has dealt with. And in Ethiopia, there's been a large community of Jews, call themselves the Beta Avraham. And the biggest issue they've had for the longest time was the inability to bury their dead in a Jewish cemetery. Would that be an issue in Puerto Rico for this community? You know, if there is a cemetery?
There is a Jewish cemetery. I can't remember if there's like a separate Chabad or Reform, I believe, and Pedro, who's also with us on the participants, could also speak to this as well. I do believe there's like a conservative Orthodox Jewish cemetery, and I believe next to it there's a Reform cemetery. But I happen to know that I believe that Bnei Anusim in the Seba, in this community that we highlighted at the end, would definitely not be allowed to be buried there.
Right? Presumably.
Right.
Also, what interested me was they seem to be quite knowledgeable. Their spiritual leader, I've forgotten his name. Is there a program for educating their children in providing Jewish education?
I think only online, if I'm not mistaken. I do believe that they're able to participate in classes online. I also know that they do go to the Chabad to get kosher food as well. Like they're welcome to buy kosher products. Anyone can buy kosher products. And I think some of them are slowly, you know, being allowed to visit or participate in different services within the different denominations. But obviously that's, I think, as a visitor, you know, not as necessarily counting as a minion, from what I understand.
I want to share comments in our Q&A. David Nachman says the Puerto Ricans are conspicuously not anti-Semitic. That's interesting. Maybe that means that in any of the communities, not just for the Anusim, maybe they aren't experiencing what we're seeing in the rest of America, which would be amazing, right? And he also indicates that he would hope to connect with you folks, all of you, after this program. So I would suggest he put an email in here and we can connect him. Is he part of the community? I don't know how to add him here. No. So I also wanted to know if the community that you're studying, that you've presented here, is looking for additional assistance, if there is a role for others to play in supporting this community.
Yes, I absolutely believe so. And I happen to be connected to someone involved with the DNA studies as well, who has graciously offered to help with these kits that can be somewhat pretty expensive for people wanting to do DNA tests in order to, for their own selves, really, to determine if they have Jewish roots or not from a DNA perspective. Because so much of this, Andrea, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, sometimes it's just a feeling. And I think that that's valid. I think that these feelings are important. And I would love to hear Patricio's comment on it as well, because he's someone who has done extensive study to his own lineage. He has family trees that show it. And even with this very big proof, he has been met with resistance in his own hometown in Monterrey. And so, you know,
maybe you can tell us about your own experience, Patricio, coming to the conclusion or conversion yourselves.
Well, I come from a place that's very particular, Monterrey, Mexico. A few years ago, there was this law passed in Spain where you can claim Spanish citizenship if you can prove ancestry, of Sephardic ancestry. So about 22,000 people were able to prove ancestry from Monterrey, being like one of the, if not the biggest community suddenly discovered from this Sephardic citizenship process through Spain. So we were able to access church records that were very preserved in order for the Inquisition to operate. It wasn't just chance. I mean, they wanted to make sure that we weren't going the wrong way. So the church managed to save all of these documents. And eventually it backfired for them because a lot of us were able to find Sephardic roots and were able like a very small percentage of us to connect, because not everybody did it in order to reconnect. They did it for practical reasons. But some of us did discover some things special and a calling to return to our Jewish roots. So the path in terms of justifying it through genealogy and DNA has been very different than what I've experienced in other communities. But the thing is, I'm going to kind of quote Rabbi Juan Mejia, because he says that it's not that important. I mean, the important thing is that people approach Judaism and try to do the process in the right way. So in the future, when we are asked about our process, there's no doubt that we did the things the correct way and for the right reasons. So I think it adds that we can have this feeling of ancestry. It also adds that maybe we can prove it, but it's not definite. For me personally, what's important is the desire to be a part of the Jewish people and do the things the halachical and correct way. Yeah.
So does that include visiting Israel or making Aliyah? Are you interested? Are people who are in the Anusim community really looking to go to Israel?
Well, me myself, I'm at some point. I surely will consider it. What we found in Puerto Rico, I mean, if you walk inside the Church of the Fork, you'll see a lot of a lot of Israeli flags all over, and there's a really a strong connection to the Israeli state and to Israel itself. So I think that question, it should be asked to Pedro or to the people from Ceiba. But I'm sure that it's in their plans. When we were in Colombia, we met some of the people in the community that had already made Aliyah. And not only that, they were serving in the IDF, and they were really, really, really in tune and with their Israeli life. I'm sorry, my English is kind of rusty, but I'm doing my best of it.
You're doing great. And Dani was very impressive with his Spanish, I must say. But I think that's a big question for people. Today, with the conflict and with so much anti-Semitism, the first question anybody would ask is, why do you want to join the Jewish people? Are you crazy? You put yourself in danger almost. It's bizarre. And I think for people that are converting, that they have to think about it. It's not just the culture, the religion, the language. Do they want to be affiliated with? Do they have a sense of belonging to this land? So I'm impressed with what you said, and then I did see the flags, but I wondered how people felt about it and if it was part of their lived experience to also cherish Israel. Dani, do you think so?
Well, I'm sorry. That was a question when I went to my Beit Din. I mean, the rabbis were really sure that you knew what you were getting into in my Beit Din, and they were very moved because no matter what's been going on in recent years, they've seen more people coming I mean, with the interest to reconnect and to convert, and they were very moved by that.
Well, I'll tell you another little anecdote. One of my children is Peruvian, so I was in Peru, and he had his bris in Peru, and we went to the conservative synagogue. There was somebody who could speak English. The rabbi was, I think, originally American. But more recently, he's 35-ish, he had a DNA test done. I don't know that I believe in these DNA tests because he said he's 98% Inca and 2% Ashkenazi. Is that possible? I don't even know if that's possible, but that's what he got. Crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe he was destined to come to me. So tell me more about the plans you have. You're both working on the next project, and I think people would like to know a little about this series. This was a very powerful introduction. So can you tell us about your plans?
Yeah. So, I mean, really, we chose, I feel like Puerto Rico chose us. We didn't choose Puerto Rico, right, Patricio? As you see in the film, I literally was there for a family wedding, and it was one of those like, we're here, let's shoot, and we like got Patricio to come from Mexico. We hired Danny Fernandez, who's a dear friend of mine that I know from way back when in Miami, who was living in Puerto Rico. He's from Puerto Rico originally. And the three of us ran around the island for, I don't know, what was it, 5 days or something quick like that? It was pretty spontaneous, to say the least. But we're super happy with what came out of it, and it means a lot, Andrea, to hear that from you as well, and seeing all the messages from everyone on this screening is really touching me in a major way. So we have Puerto Rico done, and using that to promote, to look for more funding in order to do the rest of the series. Now, we also been very lucky that Patricio has been able to film already in Mexico and in Colombia. And then 2022, so yikes, 3 years ago, Carla, my wife, and our son Oren, who was 3 years at the time, we actually took the first film we made in Mallorca, Chueta Island, and we went to Colombia, Ecuador, Brazil, and Mexico. And on that Mexico trip is where I met Patricio. So everything happens for a reason. I have that incredibly clear. And when we went to all of these different places, we found that yes, there is a network and there's a greater story that connects all of the Bnei Anusim communities around Latin America, which is what we're trying to show with this series. But each individual place has its own individual story. And that's so important to us. When we speak to what some refer to as the Catholic Jews of New Mexico, in Albuquerque and Santa Fe, Bnei Anusim there, they have a very different story to those who are in Ecuador or in Peru and in Iquitos, learning about this community in the middle of the Amazon. And so the idea is to educate as many people as possible who want to know about these isolated, emerging and re-emerging communities all over the world. We have someone else on the presentation, as a dear friend, Jacob, who I love listening to him speak about the Jews of Suriname. I mean, if we could, we would go all over the world, but we kind of had to focus. So we chose Latin America. And the idea behind the series is to get these stories out, but also have them be told by the people who are from these communities. That's super important to us. And so, yeah, Puerto Rico, I have this connection, even though I grew up in New Jersey, my family's from there. And so as we continue to build the project, we are looking for people from these different communities to share their own stories. That's the idea behind it.
Argentina?
Sorry?
Is there a community in Argentina?
No, Argentina, from what our experience is actually have a lot of Sephardic, Ashkenazi, and all of the what we call traditional Jewish communities. We have not met or found any really emerging or re-emerging communities, or Bnei Anusim is the best term there.
But actually, they are helping a lot of the Bnei Anusim elsewhere in Latin America to return or to convert. Most of the rabbis that are working in, for example, in San Miguel de Allende, which is this community, a conservative community that's been helping a lot of people to return to Judaism. The rabbis that hold these the Beitins and the previous preparation and education come from Argentina, so that they are very involved.
Interesting. Excellent. Okay. I see that Ernesto has just joined us. He's featured in the film. So would you like to say a few words, Ernesto? And then I'm conscious of the time. I'm going to ask Bonnie Sussman to give us the wrap-up remarks at the end. But Ernesto, we'd love to hear from you.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity. Pleasure to be here. Thank you, Danny, Miss Adria, Patricio, and everyone here from Puerto Rico. Thank you for those kind words. Me personally, me and my wife, Blanca, we come up for a background, Anusim. In my case, we come from the Familia Pardo, from the great Chachams from Amsterdam, originated the first synagogue in Curacao, then St. Thomas, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, a whole story. And so we have the privilege, 2007, we started our journey to Judaism, being evangelical. We went to the process of being messianic. That did not fulfill our way. 2011, I ended up in United States, in Philadelphia, and went to various synagogues. Rabbis, we said, hey, this is who we are. We want to learn. This is where we come from. They said, come on in, listen, you'll get this. So at one point, me, my wife, and my daughter, we did a return. We went to the mikvah. We did hatafat and brit. All the processes history now. And moving forward, moved to Dover, Delaware, became part of the conservative synagogue there, Beit Shalom, a part of the board of directors there. I had the privilege too to be the Dover Air Force Base, being the Jewish lay leader for the military and helping out with the mortuary affairs, all the military, fallen military personnel, Jewish specifically, doing all the rites of Tahara. And it was very humbling experience since 2018. And now we're helping Puerto Rico, the community of Ceiba, or anybody in Puerto Rico that's looking to belong to their heritage and belong to a community, who we are. And anybody that wants to help us to keep promoting this, we're more than welcome for your help. Thank you for the space. And thank you, Danny, Miss Adriana, Patricio, and everybody else. Thank you.
Thank you and welcome. Lovely to meet you. Bonnie, would you like to unmute and put your video on? There she is. Good day.
Thank you for this wonderful, wonderful program. I know it was mentioned in the movie. This is a worldwide phenomenon. It's not only crypto Jews, it's Christians that created their own Jewish communities. It's lost tribes that that see their identity coming out of biblical roots as Hebrews or Israelites. This is all over the world. Kulanu is in 33 countries. That's a lot of countries. It represents a lot of people. And anybody who wants to help to get the word out, not only of Bnei Anusim, but of lost tribes that are returning, that are Christians that left Christianity for all kinds of reasons. I mean, we have some communities in Pakistan. We have, which you wouldn't believe, right? We have communities in Indonesia. The one in Indonesia first set up its first Holocaust memorial. So we're all over the planet. And we thank you for Patricio and Dani and Andrea for helping spread the word of the importance and this new phenomena in Jewish history. We hear a lot about anti-Semitism, but this is philo-Semitism, people who love Jews. And that's a word that we're not hearing. But there's philo-Semitic people all over this globe. And anyone who wants to be part of it in any, in any form or whatever, please, we encourage it. So also I want to say, and I know Molly mentioned it, and she did a better job than I would have done. We have a Rosh Hashanah appeal. You could give money either to Kulanu Canada or Kulanu in America, depending on where you're from and what your needs are. We'd like you to share the link. And I didn't plan on saying it, but I can't help myself. I, with the help of Kulanu, put together 4 books about emerging Jewish communities in sub-Saharan Africa. They're available on Amazon as ebooks, and the money goes to Kulanu. Who's ever interested, we're not making any money out of that. And I want to wish everyone a Shana Tova, and thank you, thank you, thank you. You are a great group that are changing Jewish history and making your mark in world Jewry. And thank you again, and Shana Tova.
Shana Tova. Thank you everyone for joining us today, and we look forward to inviting you all to the next special project, Reemerge, wherever it's going to be next. And please do support Kulanu. Both Canadian and US organizations can provide appropriate tax receipts. Take care, stay well, stay strong. Bye for now.
Thank you.